like some good soapbox commentary over here. Nothing like some big tech drama. Let's talk about the data news. Welcome back to TARTLEcast. You're here with Alexander McKeag and Jason Rigby. If you don't know us, this is our probably 140th episode. Jason, let's kick it off with Tim Cook screaming about data privacy. What's he saying here?
So he is the Apple CEO. He is
the chief executive officer.
Yes.
Runs the show.
He runs the show
of
for
one
Apple.
of the more wealthy tech companies across the globe.
Yeah.
Just want to lay that foundation.
They have more cash in the bank than a lot of GDPs of small countries.
Yeah, I just wanted to lay that foundation. Go ahead.
So he came out on an interview. He was at a keynote speech at Computers Privacy and Data Protection Conference in Brussels. And he said this, climate change should be number one and data privacy should be number two of the biggest concerns that we have on the globe.
Our number one concern right here is climate stability.
So we agree with him 100% on both.
Yeah, 100%.
And he said that they need to have more deep thinking and that we need to get, countries together to solve this. Part of the worry, though, about data privacy, and I'm going to have you talk to this, resolves around the threat to weaken end-to-end encryption. And he said this is something that law enforcement around the world is serious about. I'm a big believer in encryption.
Okay. Let's hold the phone here. You are the CEO of one of the most cash-rich tech companies in the world. All of your users are generating a bunch of data, which apparently you own if you look at your terms and conditions. And you say that I am a believer. Let's talk about what believer is. And I do not like this word.
Right.
When you believe something, that means you don't have the facts. You haven't done the research. So you need to rely on other people to tell you what the real world is or what the fake world is. That means you're a believer. You haven't put in the work. Tim Cook, if you are the CEO of this company, why don't you go do the research on encryption? Look at its ancient past. You can start right here on Wikipedia. I'm pointing up to the TV. Wikipedia, encryption page. Start right here. We'll talk about end-to-end encryption, okay? We'll talk about the safety of those things. And by the way, there is a very strong, there's a dichotomy here going on. End-to-end encryption, all right? Sort of these trustless systems, which is the highest point of encryption, where it doesn't have to be a middleman. That puts a lot of these people out of business. The government doesn't like that because they want someone to at least have some sort of access, right? So it's not the reason it's such a high thing for them to look at as like for governments and law enforcement is because great that we have encryption, but let's not do too much because if we're completely locked out, we're screwed. That's like saying I'm going to take my assets and I'm going to put it in the bank, all right? And I feel good because I got a key and I know the bank's there and, they're protecting the vault and everything, but the feds still have a key to my vault and they can use it whenever they choose to do so. I don't think so. That's not what that is. And when you come off and you say that you're a believer in end-to-end encryption, well, then you need to say that we don't need any guy in the middle. We need a totally trustless system. Don't believe in it. Do the research. See the benefit. And it may harm your business models that you have because Apple realizes that they're touting about data privacy because data is such a significant asset to them. They know the economic value of data.
Yes.
That is why they're talking about data privacy. It's not for your benefit. They make hardware that tracks and logs everything you do. That's what they're in the business of. Yeah, they'll say they're not going to share it with anyone on the outside. Of course, why wouldn't they say something like that? But data is their business. When you go on the App Store, they know how long you're on there, what apps you clicked on, how many times it's been downloaded, who is being downloaded from, all that stuff. Those are their money makers. That's the sweet spot for them. They love data. So if they can find a way to protect their asset, of course they're going to talk about it and then push it off in the limelight to say, we're doing this for the public.
Well, this is what I think is funny. Right now, there's a huge fight of Facebook versus Apple.
Oh my gosh!
Because Apple's new app tracking transparency feature is going to debut this next update on iOS, and Facebook is hating this. This is crazy. I'm going to talk about something that's going to blow your mind, Alex. This will force iOS users to opt in with third-party apps if they want to continue being tracked for advertising purposes. So now you're going to have
Dude, think about that
on my because I have an iPhone right here on my iPhone. It's going to have a little button. Do you want to be tracked for locations on third party from, maybe it'll pop up and say Facebook and I click no. So that's what Facebook's worried about. Listen to this. Cook spoke about those who don't see ad tracking or the privacy as a problem. He said, I try to get somebody to think about what happens in a world where you know that you're being surveilled all the time. What changes do you make in your own behavior? What do you do less of? What do you do more? What do you not do? What do you not do anymore? So he begins to ask these questions. But here's what he said about the Apple's app tracking transparency feature. Facebook derives a vast majority of its income from serving up ads and is in a position to lose a significant chunk of this change. So we're going to define how much money Facebook's going to lose off of location, because this is just saying location data.
Yeah, I said that.
$85 billion last year Facebook made off of ad revenue. They're saying if Apple forces this iOS user to opt in to be tracked, that's going to be cut in half. They're going to lose $43 billion because of this one little third party. That's how much
it's worth to them.
I want people to understand that their data, their location data, is worth that much.
So where's that $40 billion then going to go? Right back to Apple.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it works. You cut one guy off, you can pick up the reins.
Yes.
And they'll come out with some other type of technology that has some sort of like safe tracking or whatever it might be that allows them to then recoup that and say, okay, why don't you give us the location data and then we'll go resell it.
Yeah, and then his last part of the speech was not to group Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Amazon, big tech, all together. He said, this is his quote, I think it's important for people not to categorize big tech in a way that would make people view it to be monolithic, because I think that companies are actually quite different compared to one another.
Yeah, of course they're different, but your incentive structure and the way you've actually foundationally set up your company is strictly for making money. What are you talking about? You're monolithic moneymakers.
Yes.
That's what you are.
Off of the backs of people's data.
Off of the backs of people's data. You're monolithic moneymakers off the backs of people's data. Why do you have all the money in the world and you keep building cell phones that cost $1,000? Are you not worried? Are you not considering like how many people need access to the internet and how beneficial it could be? Make it cost nothing. You could shell out iPhones for a whole year for free.
Or why not even us pay more for an iPhone? We can even pay more for an iPhone and make it eco-friendly.
Yeah, like
the source of where all those parts have come. Whenever I saw those nets at the factory, those suicide nets,
yeah,
that's when I was like, okay, we've got a problem.
Yeah, like Foxconn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say. Tim Cook, I love that you're saying all this stuff. Great, phenomenal. Climate change and data privacy. We 100% agree with that. Why don't you prove to us, like we prove to our user base every single day, how our system works?
Mm-hmm.
Prove to us you don't look through the logs. Show us how you make your money.
Be transparent.
Be transparent about your app store, what you track, what is recorded, how you feel about individuals' data on your thing. Don't just say it like, we never share. Well, then what are you doing with it?
Because, Alex, as I knew, they know that if they make statements and those statements are false, they're going to be in lawsuits for years.
You're in deep, deep doo-doo. Step up to the plate. Be transparent. And don't
100%.
just like do some sort of combative thing with Facebook saying you're going to cripple their revenue. And obviously you're going to collect later because that money has to be driven somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put up walls, build bridges. And also be transparent. You don't need to be crippling Facebook. It's not necessary. But there's some other way we can figure this out where you guys don't need to just be raking data off the backs of other people. Why don't you go to TARTLE and buy the location data from them rather than offering them to give it up for free, which has $40 billion worth of value?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. Think about what $40 billion does to somebody in India for a whole month. $40 feeds their entire family and pays their rent. Come on. You tell me people don't have an iPhone in India also?
Yeah, it's a social responsibility for each of us to look at this global perspective and say, now that I've been given this ability to be the CEO of this company or whatever it may be, and we do this all the time, Alex. Whenever we look at TARTLE, it's like, how are we going to be responsible in our actions?
Yeah.
And how are we going to elevate humanity?
Correct.
And how can we do greater good for the globe?
Yeah. Don't
just talk about stuff.
Don't do it.
Execute.
Yeah, execute on it. Here's how TARTLE makes money. You want to know? A buyer pays 100% to the seller for their data, and then they pay us 5%.
Mm-hmm.
There's our business model. Does TARTLE look at your data? No. Do they have access to your data? No.
Are you anonymous? Yes.
Is it easy to sign up? Yes. Are you educated every step of the process? Do we give you tool tips and help you out with complete wizards so you know exactly what's going on? Yes. Wake up, smell the coffee. Tell people, put your money where your mouth is. And I'm going to say that right now. Show us what you do. Show us how you make your money. You shouldn't be shy to do so.
And that would distinguish you from other big tech.
That would distinguish you from
then you wouldn't be
the
monolith.
monoliths, right? And don't you dare say anything akin to Stanley Kubrick in his genius film Space Odyssey, okay? And apply that to big tech.
What I love too is it's you remember the old Hollywood stars that would be sitting at the top of the stairs and be like, "Oh, darling."
Yeah,
and
darling, it's in black and white, long flowing gown, thin cigarette because
Yeah,
of the Freudian
Right.
marketing schemes that have been going on.
and just so out of touch with what's happening
Yeah.
in the real world.
No idea because their mansion's so huge, it's enough real estate. They don't need to go outside. I'm taking care of
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to having wealth or any of those things.
No.
What we're saying though is you can run. There's examples for you. You can run a profitable company and be ethical.
I'll just use one example. TARTLE.co.
Yes, it's that simple.
Wait, both people can win?
Yes.
It's not a zero-sum game? What an interesting, positive world. What a refreshing future that has a focus on 7 major items that increases the longevity of the human race, okay? Solves our major issues, and we can economically incentivize people?
Wow.
Wow. Everybody can win?
And if you invented this marketplace in your bathrobe,
I
Alex, then we can see there are other minds that are out there. There are other minds that are out there in their bathrobes that can sit there and say, yeah, I want to make a lot of money. That's cool. But at the end of the day, what am I leaving as a legacy for this globe?
That's
and what does it look like? I was listening to, we'll close on this. I was listening to Lex Friedman. Shout out to him. I love his podcast. He's an AI scientist. And he had one of the leading AI scientists. And this AI scientist said this. He goes, 2100 were done. So he's like, all the models point to that. He goes, if we cannot figure out, and he goes, I don't know if AI is going to go bad or good or whatever, but he goes, the trajectory we're at now as a planet, and we're hearing this over and over and over again with the smartest minds that are out there, is that he goes, from now, and what is that, 80? We have 70 something years. Yeah. So
79.
Yeah, 79 years we have left. And this guy is one of the smartest people in the world. And everybody's saying 50, 70, 80, 100 years. At the most, no one's pushing past 100 years. So you have to think about your grandkids.
Can we add some zeros onto that thing?
Are going to be sitting there and seeing a meltdown. The world will no longer exist. You're going to have Mad Max happening to your grandkids.
Yeah, like the next time the Gen Z, when they start to have children, those kids will only have 20 years.
Yes.
They won't be able to grow up.
No. We need to really think about that. And it's so cool for you to have your models, your marketing allocation models and channels and people into this and this and which one creates the most profit. And we have the best conversion rate with this and this and this. That's all awesome. I get that. But how is it helping those that you serve? If you're a corporation and you have responsibility to the people that are your end users, and those are the people that you serve. If you're a government, you are elected to serve.
Yes.
Anyone that has the ability to have power over someone else, and that power was given to you, it is your responsibility to turn around and to take that power and use it for the greater good.
The highest good.
The highest good.
Yeah.
And that is elevating the person that you're serving. Not taking and doing, and we talked about this off air, and I want to mention it, not doing data slavery.
That's what it is. It's data slavery.
And it's ridiculous. And these companies need to look and say, hey, it's great we made billions and billions of dollars, but 2100, we're done.
I want to take 10 seconds of silence right now. I hope that what we just said resonates with you, and we allotted for that silence so that you can feel the emotion and passion and logic that is behind what we are saying.
Yes.
So don't forget it. Think about it. and we will always be here to support you.